Good morning, children. Very good morning to one and all. Today, we are going to see our fourth lesson in chemistry, which is called atomic structure. Now, we are going to learn about the structure of an atom. We have already learned what is an atom. Is it not? An atom is the basic unit of a matter. Yeah, it is a basic unit or it is a basic building blocks of the matter. Now, now we are going to study the structure of the atom. Here we will be studying about the things which the atom is made up of and their properties. Okay, now this is like your alphabets for chemistry. Okay, the whole chemistry is based on this atomic structure. So you should know the very basics right from this standard onward. So you should be paying more attention and you should give your full effort to learn what is about this atomic structure. Okay, we'll go forward. The first one, what is an atom? We already know atom is the smallest unit of matter. It is the smallest particle which exhibits all the properties of the element, and it can or cannot exist independently. Yes, it can exist independently or it cannot. In that case, two atoms of the same element will combine. Is it not? That is how we have seen for a molecule. Similar way, now the atom is the smallest unit of matter. It is defined as the smallest particle which exhibits the properties of the element. Then it may exist or may not exist independently. These are all the known factors about the atom. Now we are going to learn more about atom, like what is the structure of an atom. The main parts of the atom are the nucleus, the protons, the electrons and the neutrons. Now listen here. All the four words are very new to you. You have to write all the spellings and see at least five times because all these spellings are very new. See, nucleus, Nucleus, protons, protons, Tons, electrons, Electrons, and then neutrons, Neutrons. So, you should write this and see. Now, look at the picture at the side. There you see the nucleus is the middle part. Okay, in that you see the red and the violet color balls. The red color is called the neutron and the violet one is called the proton. So I can say the proton and the neutron are inside the nucleus. Now what about the electrons? The electrons are seen outside the nucleus, is it not? You can see that oval shaped rounds or the oval shapes around the nucleus, and inside that oval shape, the black color oval shape, you can see the electrons are there. These oval shapes are called orbitals or shells, and electrons are found only in the shells. You cannot see it outside. It can be only in that particular shell. Okay, now if you are in 7th standard means you are going to be in 7th standard only until you are going to write your final exam. Similar way, the electrons in one particular shell means they will be there in that particular shell only until they are being asked for do some chemical reaction. Otherwise, they will be there in their own shell. So this is how the main parts of the atom are. The first part is the nucleus, and inside the nucleus we can find the protons and the neutrons, and the electrons are the third part which is always around the nucleus, and they will be revolving around the nucleus in their elliptical orbits. It is like the sun and the solar system, is it not? The sun is the center and all the 9 planets are revolving around the sun in their own elliptical orbits. Nobody will go and clash with each other. They have their own orbits or their own pathways to go and come. Similar way, the electrons are revolving. They will be spinning about itself, and it will be also going around and around and around in the orbitals. Okay, now we'll go one by one. Now what is the electrons? Electrons are called the negatively charged particles. This is a very, very important thing you should keep in mind. Electrons means always negatively charged particles. Okay, they revolve around the nucleus, and the paths in which they revolve are called as shells or orbits, and then they don't contribute to the mass of an atom. That means we are not bothered about the mass of an electron at all. Okay, mass means what? Similar to some weight or some capacity or the mass of that particular electron. We are not going to take that into the account of the atom. Okay, so first thing you should know is, for an electron, it is a negatively charged particles. It revolves around the nucleus, and the fixed path in which they revolve are called as shells or orbits. Okay, now the mass of the electron do not contribute to the mass of an atom. Okay, now coming to the next one, protons. Protons, with the name itself you can say they are positively charged. P for positive, P for proton. So positively charged, they are present in the nucleus, and the positive charge is more in the center. Okay, so it will contribute to the mass of the atom. Okay, so what are protons? Protons are positively charged particles. They are present in the nucleus, and the positive charge is more only at the nucleus. Now coming to the neutrons. Neutrons means neutral. The name itself will go. It says neutral. That means it will not have any charge. That means no positive charge or no negative charge. Is it not? First we saw electrons. What was electrons? Electrons was negative charge. Protons means positively charged. Now the particles without no charge, that is neutral charge, that is called as neutrons. And where are they? They are present in the nucleus along with the protons, and then they are responsible for the mass of the atom, because the nucleus, the center part alone, is heavy. Is it not? If you take the center part, it will be heavy. In that case, the center part alone will constitute to the mass of the atom. Now what is there in the center part? We have the neutrons and the protons. So that will be the mass of an atom. Okay. Now we are going to see what is in the nucleus. What do you mean by nucleus? The nucleus is the central part of the atom. It is called the central part of the atom. It is small in size, but it will be dense. Why dense? Dense means what? Thick. That means there is no space between them, because the neutrons and the protons together are there inside the nucleus. So within that little space, all these things has to be there. So there will be no space at all. They will be lying one over the other. So they are like thick and they are dense. And then there is the protons and the neutrons are present here. That is why it is dense. And they both form the mass of an atom. Okay, in the next year you will be learning about a mass number of an element. For every element there is a mass number. So there you will be adding, or you will be taking into control of this protons and neutrons. You will be adding these two things, and then you will say the mass number. Okay, so the nucleus means it is in the central part of the atom, where you have the both protons and the neutrons. They both constitute the mass of the atom, and it is a small place, and as well as it is very dense. Okay, so as of now we have seen all the four parts of the atom. First part, electrons. Electrons are negatively charged particles. They don't sit in one place. They will be always revolving in fixed paths. Those fixed paths are called as shells. The second one we saw was protons. Protons positively charged. And where are they? They are in the nucleus. Okay. Now coming to the third one, neutrons. They are neutrally charged. That is, they don't have any charge at all. That means they, along with protons, are there inside the nucleus, which is the center part. Now in that center part only we are going to take into the mass of the atom. Mass means you should have a mass. So because all these particles are all belonging to the mass of the matter. So we have to take into that consideration also. Coming to the neutral atom, that is why we are going to call an atom is neutral. Okay, because an atom is always neutral because the number of electrons is equal to number of protons, is it not? If the positively charged particles is equal to negatively charged particles, we can tally one by one for one positive here and one negative there. If we keep on tallying, when both of them are equal, that means it is called neutral. The positive charges cancels with the negative charge. So an atom is always neutral in nature. Neutral means what? I am not going to go into positive side or I am not going into the negative side. I am going to be like a yogi. You know, see yogis, no? Yogis, what they do? They will not do any big good things also. They will not do very bad things also. They will be in a very neutral position. They will be doing only their own work. They will not bother anything. Okay, similar way, if the atom, in the atom, the positively charged particles will be always equal to the negatively charged. And so, this atom will always remain neutral. Now, if the whole world is filled with yogis, will it be okay? Will it be okay? No. You cannot only have a world full of yogis. That means they will be always neutral. They will be only minding on their own business. They will not do any good thing or they will not do any bad thing also. Okay, in that case, will the world be anything very interesting? No. Similarly, in the atom, if it is always remaining neutral, will it be interesting? Can any chemical reaction can happen? No. So, an atom will do or will undergo some reactions or it will be ready to go. They are ready to go to do or become unneutral. That is, they can change their properties. Okay. So, but in nature, all atoms are neutral. Okay. Now, we are going to talk about orbits or shells. We have already seen the fixed parts around the nucleus are called as orbits. Okay. Now, what are there in the fixed parts? The electrons are there in the orbits. They revolve in the orbits. See all the red dots. Okay. How are we going to represent the orbits? We are going to give the numbers. Okay. The yellow orbit, there's an orange, green orbit and there's one blue orbit. Now, this yellow orbit, I am going to put 1. Green orbit number 2 and the blue orbit I am going to give it number 3. Now this is giving the numbers. Now I am going to name them. Okay, I am going to name them with the letters K, L, M, N. You can ask, why ma'am we have not started from A, B, C, D. We are starting only from K, L, M, N. Okay, that I will be discussing later. Okay, as of now you learn that for the orbitals the naming convention starts from K, L, M, N. So this K is called the innermost shell. That is what? Innermost. The concentric circles, no? One circle, second circle, third circle. The innermost circle is called as K. And it's very near to the nucleus. Okay, it is very near to the nucleus and has lowest energy level. It will have very low energy level. Now, the next one, we can say each shell will accommodate only fixed number of electrons. Okay, now you have a school bag. You have different sizes of school bags. Okay, for exam time, you will take only a small school bag. Yeah, we will not be carrying much of the books. But during our usual school days, you will be carrying a bigger bag. Why? We have to carry all the books, notebooks. Now, if at all you are having a half day school, okay, in that case, what will you do? You will take another bag which you can say it will carry only 4 to 5 subject books or 5 notebooks. Similar way, the shells, the orbits, that is K, L, M, they can only have that many fixed number of electrons. Okay, you cannot put more books inside a small bag. Similar way, you cannot put more electrons inside that fixed shell. If you take K shell, you can have only 2 electrons. See that yellow color shell, in that yellow color circle, you have only 2 electrons. Now coming to the second shell. the green color shell, you can have 8 electrons. Okay, and coming to the third shell, you have 18 electrons. Now you have see they are not having the same count, is not being increased. Okay, they are following the formula 2 into n power squared, that is 2n squared. What is n? N is the number of the orbit. If n is equal to 1, it will be 2 into 1 squared, so it is 2. If it is n equal to 2, 2 into 2 squared, 2 squared is 4, 4 into 2, 8. Now if n equal to 3, 2 into 2 into 2, so it will become 8. So 2 cubed is 8, 8 into 2, 16. Now instead of 16, we will be having 18. Yes, why? We will learn that in your higher classes. Okay, so K shell holds 2 electrons, L shell holds 8 electrons, and the M shell holds 18 electrons. Okay, N shell holds 18 electrons. Okay, I am sorry here. When we are going for the M shell, the N is equal to 3. So it is 2 into n squared formula. So that is 2 into 3 squared. That is 3 squared is 9. 9 into 2, 18. So this will be correct. I am sorry. I took n as 2. So it became 2 cubed, that is 8. I am sorry. I made a mistake there. It is 2 into n squared. This 2 into n squared formula is not there in your book. Okay, it will be there in your 8th standard only. But you should know how it is having only these numbers. From where these numbers came. Okay, so in the K shell, you will have only 2 electrons. In the L shell, you will have 8 electrons. And in the M shell, you have 18 electrons. So the orbits are the fixed paths around the nucleus, and electrons are revolving in this orbit, and they are represented with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas the names are K, L, M, N. K is the innermost orbit of the whole atom, and then K shell holds 2 electrons, L shell holds 8 electrons, and the M shell holds 18 electrons. Coming to the valence shell. Valence shell means the outermost shell of the atom is called valence shell, and the electrons in that valence shell is called as valence electrons. Look at the picture. You can see this atom. Inside the atom, your nucleus and all this concentric circles called as orbits. Now all those orbits, in the 4th orbit is the outermost orbit, and there you have only 1 electron, and that electron is called as valence electron. Okay, and the outermost orbit can have only 8 electrons, the maximum of 8 electrons only. It cannot have more than that. Okay, this valence electrons only will determine the chemical reactivity of the atom. The total chemical reactivity. Okay, if you see a person, you can say, if they talk very openly, you can say that person is very innocent person, is it not? If they are very shy, you can say they are an introvert, that is, they don't talk much. Similar way, if you look at the number of valence electrons, we can say, depending upon the valence electrons, we can say this element or this particular compound can react easily, or it will not react at all. Okay, so this is where the valency comes into picture. The valence shell means what? Outermost shell of the atom. The electrons in the outermost shell are called as valence electrons, and the valence electrons determines the chemical reactivity of the atom. Coming to what is valency. Valency means the combining capacity of an atom with another atom. Yes, the combining capacity. How much can this particular element can combine with another atom? Okay, take an example of making a aloo gravy. Okay, when your mother is cooking, she will know how much of salt has to be put, how much of chili powder has to put, all this, because then only it will combine well. Okay, instead of putting chili powder, she cannot put a red sand, something to give only red color. She cannot put anything which is in red color, is it not? So she knows only the chili powder will combine well. Similar way, the combining capacity of one atom is determined by this valency. Okay, it is the number of electrons an atom can donate or accept to become stable. Okay, it is the number of electrons an atom can donate to accept to become stable, and it will always have 8. The maximum is 8 and it will always be a whole number. Then we have monovalent, divalent, trivalent, tetravalent. It will go with the name: monovalent, 1 valency, divalent, 2 valency, trivalent, 3 valency, and tetravalent, 4 valence electrons will there. We are having the elements and their corresponding valencies. You should remember this. Memorize. I will be asking this in all your match, one word everywhere. Hydrogen 1, chlorine valency is 1, sodium is 1, oxygen is 2, magnesium is 2, calcium is 2, aluminium is 2, carbon 4, aluminium is 3. Okay, coming to variable valencies. That means an element or the atom can have more than 2 valencies. Okay, more than 1 valency means they will come under variable valencies, and because it is depending upon the conditions. The chemical reaction will happen depending upon the condition. So accordingly their valencies also will change. Coming to the variable valencies, the copper you have 2 variable valencies. One is 1 and another one is 2. So the representation is copper, the symbol is Cu, and in the Roman letters I can say 1 and it can be 2. Iron, it is 2 and 3. So it is first one is 2 and the second one is 3. Silver 1, 2 Ag and it is 1 or 2. Mercury 1, 2 it is Hg. Okay, and nickel Ni you have 2, 3, 4. So the nickel is having more than 2 valencies. Okay. This also you should know. What is atomicity? The number of atoms combined to make a molecule will become atomicity. Example, you have the oxygen. 2 atoms of oxygen will combine to form 1 molecule. So O2. Okay, that is 2. So 2 atoms. So that is why I write O, the symbol, and below, that is in the subscript, in the right side, bottom side, I write 2. Similarly, for other elements, it can be more than 1 or 2. If it is 1, it is called monoatomic. If it is 2, it is called diatomic. If it is 3, it is triatomic. And it is 4, it is tetraatomic. Okay, atomic, then atomicity means the number of atoms combined to make an element, molecule of an element. So how many atoms are required? Okay, example, in oxygen, we have 2 atoms of oxygen. Similarly, for iron it is monoatomic, aluminium it is monoatomic, argon 1 monoatomic, hydrogen it is diatomic, so only it is H2, oxygen is O2, then chlorine also is Cl2, ozone is 3 atoms of oxygen are getting combined, so it becomes triatomic, carbon 4 atoms, so that becomes tetraatomic, phosphorus it is polyatomic or pentaatomic, sulfur it is polyatomic because you have 8 atoms. 8 atoms of sulfur have to combine like this ring. Okay, like your bracelet or a rubber band like this. 8 atoms will form like a circle. So that will become the sulfur molecule. Okay, so diatomic, tri, tetra, finally you have polyatomic. So the atomicity means the number of atoms combined to form a molecule. If it is only 2 atoms, they are called diatomic. If it is 3 atoms, they are called tri. If they are 4 atoms, they become tetra. 5 means penta, and more than 5 becomes polyatomic. Okay. Now, what are molecules? We have already seen so many times the definitions. Molecules in 2 or more atoms of the same element or of different elements are formed. Now, if it is of same element, it is called molecule of an element, and if it is of different elements, it is called molecule of a compound. If it is of same element, example, you have O2. If it is of a different element, we have an example of H2O, because different elements, one is hydrogen, another one is oxygen. 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen, so 3 atoms totally will form this molecule called H2O. So, please go through this slowly. We have seen what are all the major parts of an atom and their definitions of atomicity, valency. These are very, very important for your higher class. Okay, learn this, say this true or false and send it across in the WhatsApp. Thank you.